One thing about this queen, she believes in our vision, Gesana.
The marriage wasn't even supposed to happen in the first place, but then
I think we need coffee.
Oh, well, I'm going there. No one's gonna stop me.
Hey, I'm going there.
Honestly, I did lose myself in the marriage. I'm gonna die. My family wouldn't even know what happened.
That did he fight for the marriage?
You don't get married
to divorce.
Yeah. Deep down, you see the red flags. So it takes two to tango.
So have you moved on? Once again, hi my VIPs, you guys are more than welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Queen Rami and I'm with the lovely and the beautiful Ladyamare, or you can call her Refilwe. Madam Fifi, you're welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome home. Welcome to your safe space.
Oh,
you feel safe?
It's like therapy. Yeah.
We made it in life. Please, you know. And guys, I'm sure her face is not new to our channel. If you don't know who she is, please do check out her previous videos that she did come and do on our channel. One thing about this queen, she believes in our vision, Gesana. She builds this thing, it's a cinch, you know, and we really do appreciate you for being here.
Thank you.
And are we the first channel to talk about this part of your life?
Yeah.
Where are those awards? Where are those awards? Okay guys, yeah, I'm super humbled, and yeah, thank you for trusting me with this. And I'm sure a whole lot of people did ask themselves questions, so hopefully with this video they will get some answers. Because one thing about people, we speculate, we talk, we do a whole lot of things, you know. And yeah, welcome. How have you been?
I've been good.
Wow, okay.
I've been good. I've been really good.
Okay guys, because one of the videos that she did come and do on our channel had a lot to do with her in-laws, how they did not accept her, how the journey was just not good for her in her marriage. So Sfonogwazi was a part of the reason why the marriage ended. And as we are about to be talking about all that, and we hear that she's doing well mentally, physically, and yeah, so do you want to tell people about the goodness of the Lord, or do you want us to?
God has been good. I mean, well, God has been good. Yeah, God is faithful. Yeah. I mean, you struggle here and there in your journey, but God has been good. He's been, he's been remarkable actually.
Oh wow.
He's shown up in a way I never would have assumed he will, but yeah, he did show up.
Wow, we thank God. We thank God. And a little bit about your bio. Who are you? For somebody who's watching us for the very first time and they are not aware of this beautiful face.
From Polokwane in Limpopo, definitely not in a village. No, because people automatically, you know
why? Because
think Limpopo and think a village. No, honey. I'm very young.
Vibrant.
Yeah. A love of life. I love food. I love reading. I love exploring new things. Yeah.
And please, whatever you do, don't downplay yourself, because ngizongenele. So just
we can keep it here.
One thing about her, she's an intellect. She's a lover of God. Her character, You know, she's just so godly. Yeah.
She's making me
No, I'm not buying face. One thing about me, I don't buy face. And yeah, so this is exactly what I've experienced about you. And we met last year for your birthday, and in the whole panel, I had everyone sticking to one thing, the fact that you are just a good person. And we appreciate you. Yeah, in case they don't tell you every day. Okay, so getting to the more serious stuff, we get to hear about the end of your marriage. How long have you been married, and what do you think led to the end of your marriage?
I don't have like specifics in terms of how long, because according to me, the marriage ended within the first few years. If I'm being honest with myself, the marriage ended, I would say, 2-3 years in. The marriage is already over. However, yeah, there's so many reasons as to.
You had hope that.
Yeah, and also when you seek counsel as well, and when you hear other stories from other married people, they'll be say the first year of marriage is the hardest, and you think, okay, let me make it at least the first year to see maybe things will get better, things will change. You think that you will change, think that you are the problem, or you want to fix the other person as well. So all those things are initially things that led to but the marriage wasn't even supposed to happen in the first place. But then
I think we need coffee.
Oh wow. I'm off coffee, unfortunately now.
Okay. So if you're saying the marriage was not supposed to happen, are you saying it was a mistake?
I wouldn't say it was a mistake, because breaking a glass is a mistake. But this was more of a lesson to me, in terms of not putting myself in situations that God never wanted me to be in the first place. And also, the issue that I had of saying no. That's also another thing that led me to be in the marriage in the first place. Me agreeing to the proposal, and you convince yourself that no, this is the right move. You convince yourself you're making the right decision. You convince yourself, no, this is gonna work. People come in with their own pressures. Oh my God, you guys look good together and all that, and you take that with you, the high, and the couple goals. You take that with you. You ended up now like, okay, making a decision. So we really are going through with the marriage.
You can't go out when your couple goes.
Yeah, and honestly, the hype gets to you, and you go to premarital counseling. The hype is still there. You're being told all this and this, like this is what
you're overreacting
and all that. But then the hype of like, you guys look so good together. Like people are saying you're like you are the first you are like the granddaughter of whoever. People are coming and say like we're gonna do this for your wedding day. We're gonna cover this, and like you're like, oh okay, and
that's nice.
And you convince yourself that this is God saying yes. You convince yourself that this is what I want, and deep down you see the red flags. You know that this isn't what you're supposed to be getting into, but you convince yourself that no, like I'm going there. You're like, I'm going there, no one's gonna stop me.
Hey, I'm going there. Don't do
it. I did, and yeah, I saw flames.
Yeah, you got burned. Anyway, we are sorry about the whole journey.
Don't be.
Okay, so when you look at, I hear all the explanations that you're giving us, and why is it that as women, when you see red flags, you convince yourself? Is it something that is in us, or do you think it had a lot to do about the type of a person that you are, or do you feel like you just had hope about your ex-partner that they would be a better man?
I think the society that we live in, it's a society when as a woman, when you leave a relationship or when you leave a marriage, already there's a lot of backlash that is attached to that. You've been called a failure and all that. So as women, we try to make things work to avoid that backlash, to avoid all that you receive, because you definitely, when you need support, you're actually not going to get support. So you avoid putting yourself in a position where you would need people. So you would rather stick to make it work, so that you are never at a place where you will be crushed by the community or the society or people surrounding you. Because now people detach themselves, because you're going to be seen as a divorcee, you're going to be seen as a failure. You'd get things like you couldn't even make a marriage work for 5 years.
What are you saying?
Yeah. You couldn't even sustain your marriage. You couldn't even. Others would be told things like you couldn't even give your husband kids. Who are you to tell me? Such. So you avoid that, because already you've seen it happen before. So you try to make it work to avoid being in the same situation that others who have walked the journey have gone through. So that's my reason. I wouldn't speak for other women, but I would say
totally understandable.
The general thing that you see around, you hear stories about it as well.
And there is a thin line rather between the divorced and the married ones. And it's something that I saw a lot on TikTok, and I can boldly say not all divorced women are bitter, and not all married women are happy or bitter. The same thing. I don't think that is the case. But why do you think a lot of divorced women are bitter? Because I don't see that in you. So why are some of them bitter?
I don't know. But I would say as well, the bitterness could also be a shield to cover themselves from the backlash and the negative things that the community does. Most of the time as women, we go through a lot that we don't share it out there. We carry the shame, and like we even cover our partners even when we married, right? So we would be, we would carry everything, all the bad things that happened, all their flaws and all that. So we would carry it with us, that even when the marriage ends, we would still be seen as the bad people. And when you think about it, like, if only they knew that A, B, C, like, was done by me. If only they knew that actually this and this happened. But also the society doesn't care. The minute you, according to societal views, you don't make it in a particular area or compartment in your life, you're being seen as this type of person, you're a failure, you can't talk about certain things, you do not want to say something, and then something like GBV happens, and you're like, why did she stay? But then now you leave.
The very same people are the ones who say,
you stay when the certain form of abuse will be like, no, it's impossible, like, or you'd get things like the reason the guy left, or it'll be like, okay, the reason the guy left her was because maybe she couldn't give him kids, she couldn't do that, or she was focused on her career, she didn't give the guy attention, or she lost herself, and honestly, I did lose myself in the marriage. I lost.
We are still going to come to that.
And those are things that we don't realize, that a lot of women are bitter because they lost themselves, and now it's hard for them to transition into finding themselves again.
Because a lot of women after divorce, some of them, they go for piercings, tattoos, they begin to cut their hair, and you're like, couldn't that have happened in marriage? So what do you think is that very thing that makes women to lose themselves in marriages? Because it is a huge percentage. And I know some will come and say it's having kids, it's careers and all those type of things. As you have been in that place, what do you think is that thing that makes a woman put a man first, forget about her dreams, forget about her goals, and just want to make their marriage their main thing?
I never wanted to make my marriage my main thing. I wanted to maintain my goals. I wanted to still be someone who who wanted more out of life, not just someone who would just sit down and say, I'm dependent on this, like I am, like people who know, like I'm a very hard worker, like I can work so hard to a point where people close to me would be like, you need to take time out. And I wouldn't even realize that I'm doing so much to a point where I'm not even having enough time to rest or time to like take a step back and say, okay, can we re-strategize a few things? So in my case, I would say, because I mentioned that I wasn't supposed to get married, I didn't know who I was, I didn't know my partner. I saw the red flags, but also I thought that those are things that I would stand for. So because now I had made a commitment, I had made a decision, I lost myself because I was trying to change him to be the man that I wanted. I was trying to change him to be a particular individual, to be seen as this kind of person, to a point where I would do things, on my end to make it seem like he's the perfect covering for me. He's the perfect, head for me and all that. But then initially that wasn't the case, and because now I kept on doing that a lot to a point where I lost myself. And because now I am focusing on trying to make him what I want, the kind of man that I want, the kind of man that I, initially when I got into it, I was like, I can make it work, so I made a compromise on my side. Now I had to live with a compromise that I made, and it was a lot.
This is a lot, and I hope every married woman, whether you are divorced, this is something to take home, that you are not supposed to be carrying the marriage all by yourself. It's a two-way thing. So having said that, the part that you played, don't you think he was playing his part as a partner?
I don't want to speak for him, but honestly, there's no relationship that ends without both parties being involved or both parties playing.
Takes two.
Yeah, so it takes two to tango. So it could be that at a time where he was trying to make it work, I was already out. And at a time where I was trying to make it work, he was already out. It could be that we never fought for the marriage at consecutive times. And it could also be that even in that case, because remember, we were both and I believe that we were both in the marriage, and we never wanted the marriage. Like that's my view, right? But I know personally it wasn't supposed to happen. I wasn't ready for it. I had to grow in certain areas. I had to learn certain things. I had to make sense of self, and there's certain scars that I had to heal as well. I had a lot of issues with being abandoned as well. The lack of a father while growing up as well had affected me. Now going into marriage with that scar, it would be like, if it's not healed, if it's not dealt with, I'll be looking for him not only to be a husband but also to be a father as well. And which would, like, he can't be both.
He can't.
And which wasn't fair on him, but also there are certain things that happened in the marriage as well that, when I look into it, I'm like, he could have done better. He could have sheltered me. He could have, done this. He could have loved me better. He could have, protected me from A, B, C. And I stopped the he could have, and I started to feel, what do you want? And when I started doing that, he was nowhere in my 3-year plan. He was nowhere in my 5-year plan. He was nowhere in my 10-year plan. He was nowhere in me seeing myself as a retired person. He was nowhere in me seeing myself as a grandparent. So, Rafilo, what do you want? He's not in the picture. So that's where I had to be true to myself.
I love that, and it's really an eye opener. So when you look at your past marriage, do you think because there's a part where you mentioned the fact that both of you were not ready.
Yeah.
So do you think you were not ready because it was him? Do you think if it was somebody else, the marriage would have worked out?
No. I think I wasn't ready because I wasn't ready for marriage.
Okay. It's not about
him.
The setup that came with him.
I was just not ready for marriage as an individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think age difference played a role? Because I usually hear, as women, we mature very fast. I mean,
True.
yeah, so women like me, I would never, okay, I did, and it was a mistake. I dated a guy who was my age, and it was just bad because my level of thinking was way up there and he was way below. Okay, do you think the age gap between you and your ex-husband played a role in the working out of your marriage?
No. I've seen couples who are actually the same age, and I've seen the marriages working. I've seen couple who had a huge age gap. I've seen them not working, and I've also seen couples who were like had like a year or 2, 3 years age gap, and still not working. And some work and some
there's
don't.
no formula.
Yeah, there isn't really a formula as to the age thing works, but then also because now we know that women mature quicker than men and all that, but it's also dependent on the upbringing of the guy as well. It's also dependent on my upbringing. Remember, a lot of women have that upbringing of they prepare you for marriage for a very young age, and a lot of guys don't have that. So a lot of mothers baby their sons as well. So already by now them getting married, they have to now grow up quickly at a rapid rate. And now as a woman, you already have these expectations because of how you grew up and what you were told about marriage and what you were told about a husband. And when he's not doing that for you, it's a shock. I was like, how? I thought he's supposed to be ahead, he's supposed to take care of all those things, but
he's supposed to lead.
Yeah, he's supposed to lead. And now you are living with a person who's expecting you to pay the bills because now their parents have been doing that for them. Who are expecting that when they mess up, you have to cover them now. They keep on messing up. And there's that lack of accountability as well. So now it's all a shocker to you, and you now have to sit in your corner and be like, is this really what I want? So yeah.
And talking about accountability, what role do you think you played when it comes to your marriage ending? And do you think your childhood traumas played a role in because one thing that I've realized about marriage, whatever that is hidden is going to be exposed.
Yeah.
Who you are is going to come out.
Definitely.
And I remember a certain pastor saying that God exposes us in our marriage so that we can be formed into the godly individual that he wants us to be.
Yeah.
So it's up to us as individuals. When those things are exposed, we work on them and deal with self more than trying to deal with our partners. So what role do you think you played? And I know this might not be an easy question, but yeah.
So into what
the marriage ending. Do you think your childhood traumas also came out more on your side?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Like I mentioned as well earlier that because of that lack of having a father figure, it was unfair on him to try and be a husband and a father at the same time. However, when I left the marriage, I left it with that and that I tried everything, and I wouldn't have any should haves or would haves, could have done this. Like I tried everything, like even the most bizarre things I've tried. The whole seeking counsel and
involving the family.
Like I actually feel like I stayed longer because of seeking counsel. If that element wasn't there, probably within the first 6 months I would have left. And yeah, definitely we would have been in different places if that had happened. But also, I guess there were lessons that I had to learn. There were certain things that God needed to work in me. I had to face the childhood traumas, because if it wasn't for me staying in long, I wouldn't have faced the childhood traumas. I wouldn't have because I remember there was a point where I said to him that we should go for counseling, right? And he wasn't for counseling, like it was not a thing. You can go, that's fine. I went
alone.
Yeah, I went alone. We were still staying together then, and I think it was within the first. I think that I was going for my third session, and it would be comments like, "What's the use of you going to counseling if you're still the same person?"
Wow.
And
now that's discouraging.
And that already, like, with that, you kind of pick up that we were both simultaneously trying to change each other to fit the people that we initially wanted. So hence I'm saying, I believe deep down we both know we were never supposed to get married. But
that kills me.
Also, God allows certain things to happen, not that because sometimes, because even if he said no, we still won't listen.
Yeah,
but then they happen.
So I believe that it's very important when it comes to the issues of marriages ending, that both people are accountable, right? And I love the answer that you gave, that you do know there are certain things that happened in the marriage that were caused by you. So tell me, as a Christian woman, do you think your values aligned with your ex-partner?
Values, I mean, I think if you look at it at the core foundation, we both were Christian, meaning born again, blood washed, and all that. But just in a bigger aspect, or like looking at it like widely, so in terms of building something and sustaining something forever, no. But in terms of relating, because we know Christ died, he rose, there's that,
go to church.
Yeah, we go to church. There's that understanding of fasting, there's that understanding of prayer. Yes, but as to the bigger picture, no.
Because we do hear pastors who are immediately when they wed you guys, they will tell you marriage is forever. So when you look at your marriage, was it not there? Was this thing of we are in this for good, was it not there from both your sides?
Yeah, I mean, when you get married, you don't get married to
divorce.
Yeah. So obviously, we're already planning, okay, after 2 years, we're going to start planning for a family. We need to ensure that, like, financially and in our careers, we're at this place, and all that, like, work together and stuff. But when you talk about things, and when now you guys start living together, and now the reality of the things that you discussed have to happen, that's where the issue becomes, because now you realize that this person is not as hardworking, or okay, I thought this person is like this, and there's certain things you start to discover, and then you would seek counsel. You'd hear people say, no, this is okay, this is normal, my husband does this, and all that. Like, oh, okay, so this is normal. You see something different, and then you seek counsel. They're like, no, it's fine, still within the first year it will change, and it becomes worse. And now certain things happen, you're like, whoa, no, I'm not gonna stand for this. Now you've pushed the first year, you've pushed the second year, and you're like, at least let me make it to 5 years. That was me, like, speaking to myself. No, man, if you can at least, like, push to 5, and after 5 you will decide if you still. And yeah, no, I couldn't push to 5. I was probably, gonna be crazy. Like, I was gonna be checked at a psych hospital and all that, because I'm very analytical. My thinking, I'm a planner, and I'm not patient with myself. I think that's something that I'm learning.
So do you think you're also not patient with other people?
I'm very patient with other people.
Okay.
I'm so patient with people that people can walk all over me. And I still give people another chance, which is what I did as well. Being too forgiving and too understanding, and out there would cover all the flaws and would make it seem like I'm the happiest wife ever. You know, and smile for pictures. I had like a perfect facade.
So when did you draw the line? When did you know? I know you said 2 years into the marriage you already knew that this is not for you. But what was the last hit in your nerve that said, I'm getting out of this?
When I knew that I was never gonna be seen as a wife to him based on the actions and how he spoke to me, and I think also because I had already started the therapy before while I was still in the marriage and initially stopped, but there was a time where I was sick and he moved on with his life. He like would leave and stuff, and I was sick and
at home.
Yeah, I was sick and in the house, and it didn't really. There was no form of care, no form of consideration, no form of the compassion wasn't there, and the thought that came into my mind was, I'm gonna die, my family wouldn't even know what happened. And I was like, no, I don't want this. I don't want to. And that stuck with me because in a place where I needed to be cared for, I needed to be loved, and I needed to be taken care of, that wasn't there. It was like I had to force it to be there. I think that's where I drew the line. That's where I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. And not only because within the years I would say it, but I still stayed. But I think when I said it and also gave a plan of action at the same time. So then that stuck to him that no, this person is actually leaving.
And coming to the last part of our chat, how was his reaction to the fact that you are definitely coming out? It's no longer talk, it's talk and action.
More of trying to
ask that, did he fight for the marriage?
No. The blame initially, and I just allowed it. Out there, even with because after I said that, I started receiving calls from family, and it was.
So you literally went to report you to them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Both sides.
Yeah,
Your side.
I didn't even see the need to, because remember I was seeking counsel all these years, and me seeking counsel reverted to me staying longer. So because I didn't want to stay, and I knew I'm not gonna stay, so in my head I was actually gonna tell them once the divorce was finalized. That was my initial plan. I wasn't planning on. I wanted to work. I was like, okay, I had a structure, I had a plan. So the plan was, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna focus on myself. I'm gonna be live independently outside of him. And there were certain things that were already happening that made it easier for me to learn how to live alone. And now, when I started getting calls, I was like, oh, so that's the story you have. And no, that's fine. I didn't like, oh, okay, that's what, no, if that's what you've been told, that's fine. I didn't go as far as saying, fighting it or trying to change it, like their perspective or anything.
So do you think his family rather played a role? Remember, they never liked you from the onset.
Yeah.
So do you think they pushed when Because I feel like usually when a couple decides to go for a divorce, I believe there is one that is literally trying to keep the marriage together. So in your case, you're saying that he never even tried to fight for the marriage. So, but do you think voices from his side of the family were also a final stamp?
I don't know, because there was never a relationship there.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't really, speak as to the contribution they had. But also, I would say he didn't fight, but also he might think that he did in a particular way. He might feel that, because there's a lot that happened, but also I think the lack of accountability was a huge thing. The fact that in my head I always think, I don't know this person. I don't know who I got married to. I got married to a stranger. And even till date, I still say I got married to a stranger.
I love that part. Saying you married a stranger, which will bring us to our next coming video, which we are going to talk about the fact that as Christians, we are encouraged to marry quicker due to the fact that you cannot control the flesh once you're in love. So you are supposed to marry so that you don't fall into the sin of having sex before marriage. Do you think it's advisable, looking at the fact that now you feel like the few years you've been with him, he is still a stranger even? Where do we draw the line as Christians? Do you feel like it would have worked much better had you stayed with this person or known him for maybe 3 years before you settle down?
I think where we draw the line as Christians is by not making marriage the end goal. That's way like
we date to marry in the name of Jesus.
But we're making marriage the end goal, and it's not. I was with him for less than 7 months and he proposed. And remember, at this time we only saw each other like once in a while. I was staying
in the 7 months.
Yeah, I was staying with family. We're staying with family, so we'd see each other maybe like probably twice in 1 month. I didn't really know this person. There would be months where it'd go by, we'd just be talking on the phone and that. And remember, this is someone who had his own life, right? And there's also a private life that I didn't know about until we got married as well. And there were certain things that now, okay, he proposed, the same year he proposed, Lobola was done within that. And now, I could have said no. I wanted to say no when he proposed. And yeah, I said yes. And this is where I am today. But
guys, we are going to end this video here. It was way too long, but I think everything that was said in this video is worth listening and taking lessons in. Whether you are married, whether you are single and planning to get married, whether you are also divorced, there's a lot to take out of this video, and we are wishing you all the best. So have you moved on?
I'm an advocate for love.
Woo!
I believe in marriage. Should you wish to get married, please do not take my experience as a shield or a thing not to get married.
Even for those of us who are married,
and
work on some of the things that she already mentioned.
I love love. So
love is a beautiful thing.
It is. So that's all I'll say.
Amen. I love that. Like I said, she's not a bitter divorcee, and I learned a lot just by us having this conversation. And I'm praying that so that more people can learn that, you know what, there are mistakes that happened. You are accountable for that, but life goes on. You take those things and you are moving on. Thank you so much for sharing this part of your life.
It was a pleasure.
Yes, we appreciate you. Bye.